Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Diller. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson.
Hey.
And Frank Sinatra.
That's it.
The Pinstripe Bowl, baby.
That's it.
Be a part of it.
Yeah, my whole family wants to be a part of it.
Yeah, right. So we'll talk about that a little close, more in detail in a second. We'll talk about most people's reaction to the college football playoffs. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and teams turning down bowl games. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of Greenville Sports Media Podcast Network. If you're a true sports fan, Greenville Sports Media is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts, the latest articles, and other sports media at greenvillesportsmedia.com, who can also be found on all forms of social media, just like the Fun Fans. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
Yeah, and let's mention Reuben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering, the best wings around. They have two locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont, South Carolina. All right, that's ReubensC.com. Reuben's is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans. Hey, did you hear last week Clemson beat Carolina? Okay.
Breaking.
That's it. Sorry, folks. That's
Breaking news. All right, but speaking of Clemson, and they are on we'll say a winning streak, however many games, they're going to take that winning streak to the Pinstripe Bowl, going to the Bronx to take on I want to say the coachless. I mean, technically they're not coachless.
No, I think they were going to hire Matt Campbell, weren't they?
That's the guy out of that was out of Iowa State, right? The Cyclones.
Yeah, his name always comes up with, but it's so public. He's I'm your third choice. You know, like you have prom dates. Nobody wants to be the third one.
Hey, well, if he was the third one, it would surprise me. They may have made it down to about fourth or fifth or sixth for that matter. But either way, we're going to be taking on the Nittany Lions in the Bronx on Saturday, December 27th. And, you know, it's all about perspective. When we were 1-3, if you would have said, hey, you're going to end up 7-5 going to a bowl in New York City, a post-Christmas bowl, we probably would have said you're out of your mind. But we're all about the fun here. Clemson, I don't, necessarily turned it around necessarily, but turned it on enough. And that'd be a nice little bowl trip, don't you think, Bailey?
Well, yeah. I mean, the average high temperature in New York City on Christmas Day is 40 degrees and the low is 30. So it would be like a day like today, only colder.
Right. So, well, it's perfect football weather. But hey,
except it's in a baseball stadium.
And that would be cool. Yankees. So you've got all kind of things to check off your list if you go to this bowl game. Okay. New York City at Christmas. Whose wife and or daughters don't want to do that?
I've already heard.
Right?
Yes.
Yankee Stadium. If you've never been, if you're a sports fan at all, that's a bucket list location. Maybe it would normally be for a Yankees game, but hey, beggars can't be choosers necessarily. And I think it'll be well attended. We all know going, I don't know when it started, but it definitely has not ended. Way back 25 plus years ago when you and I were at Clemson, the number 2 state that sent students to Clemson was Jersey.
That's right.
There's got to be a large alumni base up there really close to New York City. So, and plus Penn State, they have a huge alumni and fan following. So
yeah, I think the Pinstripe Bowl is happy. It's already a hot seller on all the ticket sites, and the cheapest ticket I found was $108 for an upper level seat. But in a baseball stadium, that's really not that high, because Yankee Stadium only holds, I think, 40,000. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say it until I know it.
Don't say it till you know it. All right, but that's the fun that's the fun part, and we will talk more bowl games here in just a second. But the
46,000.
big 46,000. The big news, yeah, that place probably full 46,000.
Yeah, with those two schools, you would think.
Yeah, pretty good. And it should be a good game. And now we'll get to the teams that are opting out here in a minute. But for the teams that are playing, the players that are opting out, we'll see how that goes. but hey, they'll line up some Division I athletes, as you say, and they'll snap the ball and they'll go at it. So that'll be fun.
So I did a little research already.
All right.
Pinstripe Bowl started in 2010. It used to be called the New Era Pinstripe Bowl for the first 12 years. Now it's the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl. It's ironic that it's sponsored by a lawnmower company, and it's in New York City where nobody has to cut grass. But you can stay right. So a flight from Charlotte up there is roughly, by the time you get everything done, $400 round trip.
Yep.
Tickets $100+. Hotel right across the river, like literally right across the river in New Jersey, is relatively inexpensive at
correct,
pretty nice places. That would be. So I tried to ballpark it for 5 people, and I was thinking, with food and everything, $2,500. You maybe
squeezing into one hotel room.
Oh yeah, we sharing.
Sharing is caring.
We might be sharing plates and stuff. I get an Airbnb.
Yeah, it's doable, and the date with respect to Christmas, you could leave the day after you get all your Christmas stuff done.
Cheaper flights on Christmas Day.
The cheaper flights on Christmas Day?
Out of Raleigh, actually.
Oh, well, I don't know what's going to happen here. Unfortunately, as if people have listened to the show, my wife is tying a bow, is the way we'll put it, on her cancer journey. And she has radiation every work day. She is cancer free, but doing radiation every work day, it would be a quick weekend trip for the Dillards if we happen to make it up there. But we are
I'm not going. I'm just telling the people out there how much it would cost.
Well, we haven't necessarily completely struck it off the to-do list, but it is probably not going to happen. We're going to celebrate being cancer free and the birth of Jesus and hang around with family and stuff and watch the game on TV, more than likely, for sure. All right, but this is going to be fun. Anybody that goes, that'll be awesome. Maybe we get somebody from New Jersey on the show, whether they go to the game or not. So we know a couple of those folks. All right, next on the item list, your 12 playoff teams are in. This has been one of the most drama-filled, exciting days in college football since the playoffs started. The BCS has got nothing on what happened today. All right, just in case you've been under a rock, the top 4 seeds: Indiana number 1, Ohio State number 2, Georgia number 3, Texas Tech number 4. All those schools have byes, and they will play on New Year's Day. One of them might be New Year's Eve, maybe. In the big bowl games, the Orange Bowls and the Sugar Bowls and those kind of things. Then hosting, and this is so cool. We talk about this is the fun stuff. Congratulations to A&M getting to host Miami. Ole Miss will get to host Tulane. Oklahoma gets to host Alabama, and the Oregon Ducks get to host JMU, and those will happen Friday and Saturday, 2 weeks from this weekend. So that's really cool. My brother and I went to the Clemson game at Texas on their campus last year, and it was a great experience. The Texas fans were having a blast. We were having a blast. The game was good enough-ish, but the experience was awesome. Having these playoff games on campuses are, if there's anything they're doing right, that is definitely it. But Bailey, so what do you think as far as the teams that are in? Speaking of getting things right, you okay if we leave that up on the screen?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, obviously the first 8 were locked in pretty much.
Yeah.
And then JMU and Tulane had Virginia won. Who knows what would have happened?
Well, if Virginia would have won, they
would have been out. Tulane would have been 12. Virginia 11, more than likely, right?
I think Tulane was ahead of Virginia. I don't know. Yeah,
Maybe
one
so.
or the other.
No, I think Virginia was ahead of them.
Okay.
So I just don't understand. I mean, I get I get the argument that Alabama makes. Look at our resume, but they have 3 losses. And I told you, after Notre Dame was 0-2, they'd be right back in the conversation. And honestly, they should probably be in there. Is this the 12 best teams in the country? No. But I heard a thing on the radio today that said the group of 5 or 6, whatever it is now, are always going to be involved in this because nobody wants to get sued. Because you cannot, I guess the term is create a monopoly on this situation by excluding those schools. So anyway.
Well, they're bound to get sued. The way this is going, it wouldn't surprise me if there's not some legal action at some point in time, for other reasons. But I think most people are a fan of the group of 5 getting a chance because as long as that's their only opportunity at a national championship, the way we have it right now.
Correct.
Until we somehow split all of the bowl subdivision teams, which we'll talk about that in a minute because it might be coming. Bowls we've been saying this for a handful of years, but until you split all of the bowl subdivision teams, this is the only way you have to give them at least a glimmer of a chance. And the thing is, nobody probably ever thought that somebody that ended up ranked as high as 21 or 3 or whatever JMU is would be one of the top 5 ranked conference champions.
Right.
So, but we set up a system last year. Boise, they got a bye, they were in, and nobody had a problem with that. They were a top 10 team for the majority of the season.
But this year they got a bye and they got hammered.
Well, that's true. But this year, this is kind of the opposite. But nobody thought Boise shouldn't be in. Nobody.
No, but they questioned whether or not they should be one of the byes.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and that's why that got changed. But kind of like what you said is one of the misnomers is the best 12 teams in the country. This system that was agreed on by everybody is not a system to find and put the best 12 teams in the country in the playoffs.
Right.
This system is designed to put the top 5 ranked conference champions and 7 at large based on ranking. That's not going to be the top 12 teams. We said it last year, and people were just starting to learn, how that works. And, some years it just looks better than others. Now, how long this lasts, I don't know if this is going to last more than another year or two. Personally, I think they got it. I think they got it right. I hate that Duke didn't get in there, somehow beating Virginia, didn't get them ranked ahead of a team. JMU, their strength of schedule is 123 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're 11-1 or 12-1 or whatever, but I mean, come on. But it's fine. They won their conference champion, and Duke, Duke lost too many other games. But I think the whole argument about Miami, Alabama, Notre Dame, I said on X last night that if we really think about it, Notre Dame is the one that should be left out because I'm not a fan. Nobody's a fan of punishing the teams that play the extra game, even though Alabama looked like mess.
Well, I think Georgia had something to do with that.
Georgia definitely had something to do with that. And you don't want to punish a team for, quote unquote, playing that extra game. And Miami beat everything with Miami Notre Dame was, dead equal, except the fact that Miami beat them in a head-to-head.
Right.
Miami never should have been below Notre Dame in these rankings. from the first place ever. So I think they got it right. Based on the system, the way we have it set up now. And it's a whole different show for us to solve all the problems and tell them how it should be done.
I'm glad that, I mean, there are some new faces here to the party. Also, Texas Tech, who has gone out with the Texas oil money and bought them a roster. And it's like one of their players said, he goes, well, what do you think about people saying you bought a roster? He said, well, if you're going to buy something, buy the nicest one you can find. He said, we got a good roster.
Well, and I mean, we said that about Ohio State last year. Didn't they all do it?
Well, anybody on this? Done it.
Yeah.
So they were even talking about Virginia had private donors that like anonymous. Nobody knows who they are. Gave millions of dollars.
I don't think anybody in this graphic. Well, I don't know about the group of 6 teams, group of 5 teams, but all the other ones. I mean, they have put $20+ million into these rosters. So, good luck, Texas Tech. I'm gonna not go out on much of a limb and say they're going to be taking on Oregon. And just FYI, I would pick Oregon in that one. But yeah, I'm glad to see some new faces. Ole Miss got in. You know, Alabama was on the outside looking in last year. They were last year's Notre Dame. Right. So, you know, there's always going to be that one team that gets, you know, left out that everybody thinks should have got in. Who else is new? A&M.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be
Oklahoma.
fun.
Even
Oklahoma.
Though it's been several years, and really Indiana being number 1, that is something that 20 years ago, I'd bet you that never happened.
Oh, without a doubt.
But they seem to have that magic wand.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of magic.
But see, now they have several weeks off. As a coach, I wouldn't want several weeks off.
Well, true. And maybe it didn't matter when everybody was just playing one more bowl game, but it just kind of reminds you of the good old days where everybody had about a month off before they played in a New Year's Day bowl, and you waited on the BCS or the AP to decide.
You could add around. You could add around and play a game next week.
They could. Well, there's a lot of things, and I really do think that today may have
play
been
on the 13th and the 20th.
What everybody's talking about. So you bring that up. You've probably heard what everybody's been talking about before this weekend, other than the games coming up, is how the calendar is so messed up because they had a signing day this week,
right?
In the middle of all this, in the middle of the season. You got coaches leaving, the Lane Kiffin issue, and wanting to stay but not being allowed to stay. But everybody's talking about the calendar is just a mess. That it should start. It would only have to start a couple weeks early, and do kind of what you're saying, and get on through into the playoffs. And by New Year's Day, we could be done.
Right. I think that even if you moved it up a week and got rid of some of these bye weeks. Like, come on.
Yeah. It could happen. It could happen. And that would make things more. Everybody had 2 bye, and that's during the season. So, yeah if you got the season with 2 bye, we got a 14-week season to play 12 games.
Right.
Then you got the conference championship week. Then you have a nothing week before the playoffs start.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of kind of, we can say, wasted time in there. And then you could bump all the signing dates and transfer portals and coaches leaving and all that kind of stuff. All that could wait till January 7th or 8th or whatever you wanted to put on it. And that would actually be into the second semester. I was kind of surprised. I actually heard one coach bring up school and how it's supposed to be done this semester of school.
Right.
In reference to the college football calendar. So that was kind of like, woo, look at there.
And they have the transfer portal now that starts like 1st to 2nd of January. So those kids can say, yeah, I'm coming, and then go to class or get enrolled to start practice.
So, all right. So speaking of all that stuff, the bowl games, does today mark the end of college football as we know it. Did what happened to Notre Dame? Now, we all know Notre Dame didn't get in. Yes, they were in the polls that were coming out on Tuesday night, but everybody was saying, hey, how are they ahead of Miami? Everybody's been saying that. Anybody that knows how this works knows you had to be in the top 10. You didn't have to be in the top 12. You had to be in the top 10 to get in because the other two spots were going to be taken by some conference champions, ACC or the other ones or whatever. And then when Notre Dame don't get in, I mean, it wasn't, an hour, and they're declining their bowl bids.
Well, they kind of stuck their lip out. We're not going. Well, okay, you just lost a month of practice. 2 more weeks of practice, 3 more weeks of practice.
Well, and also correct. And do they not lose money as well? I mean, are these bowl games not a moneymaker for schools
Well, it's
anymore?
costing Iowa State and Kansas State about $500,000. They have to pay their conference $500,000
because they're also opting out.
Yeah,
of the whole thing.
Yeah, the players voted not to play at those 2 schools.
Do we have a reason on that one? I saw that.
I didn't get that deep into it.
I'm assuming
Iowa State said our coach is leaving.
It wasn't that long ago, Bailey. We're not spring chickens, but we're not that old. It wasn't that long ago when going to a bowl game that meant you had a great season, and that was a huge reward for the kids, and they loved it, and it was a trip, and they were treated like kings, and given gifts and gold, frankincense, myrrh, and another opportunity to play somebody.
That's a great segue into 11 ACC teams made bowl games, which is good for the conference. But my goodness, 11? There used to be, I can remember when there was like the Bluebonnet Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, and that was about it. The Peach Bowl. That was about it.
They've definitely added more bowl games, but I mean, and the point was it was a reward for the kids.
Right.
And you did something for the players and the teams, and it was great. But now that we're paying players, and by we, I mean not me, y'all, other folks.
Well, in a way, we probably are.
Is that going to be gone? Are we going to do away with bowl games? Are we that close to a point where when your regular season ends, if you don't make the playoffs, you're done?
I don't know.
I
know. I'm glad Clemson's not playing in a bowl game at a baseball field where they put both teams on the same sideline. That's my concern. That was my concern.
We were glad it's on a Saturday. I mean, that'll make for a better watch party.
Yeah, it's on a regular, like normal football type.
Yeah.
It's another noon kickoff, but you could be playing East Carolina in the Military Bowl if you're Pittsburgh at 11 a.m. that morning.
All right, so we've circled back to what we do here on the Fun Fans podcast, and that's talk about the fun stuff. So speaking of who made our favorite bowls are the best tasting bowls: the Duke's Mayo, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the Tony the Tiger. And we got Snoop that's not a best tasting thing, but you got to be a fan of Snoop.
Yeah, who don't like that one?
Tell us who made our best tasting bowls, Bailey.
All right, so we got, first of all, let's go with the Tony the Tiger Bowl. Duke will take on Arizona State. That is actually the Sun Bowl, right?
Tony Tiger
Sun
Sun
Bowl. New Year's Eve at 2:00. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, we got Georgia Tech and BYU. Georgia Tech's one of their coordinators is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then let's go over to, I remember the Outback Bowl would have been delicious too, but they stopped doing that one.
Yeah, they stopped. We lost that.
The Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl features the Wake Forest Demon Deacons versus Mississippi State at 8:00 on January the 2nd.
And Mississippi State's one of those fill-in. Aren't they 5-7? They had to go grab somebody that didn't really have 6 wins.
Yeah, and come on.
With all the opting out. Anyway, and what about Snoop? What's the name of Snoop's Bowl? It's like the Snoop Dogg something.
Not that I can't see well.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the
And
the
that's not
Bushes.
one of the.
They got the Bushes baked beans Boca Raton Bowl now. Louisville and Toledo. That's
That's
not one of my
awesome.
favorites. I will
Yeah,
eat Bush's baked beans.
that's a side item. Pop Tart is a main entree, and the Duke's mayonnaise is a condiment for all things edible.
Oh, it is.
But the
I cook
baked
with it.
beans, the baked beans is just a good side item. So
It's the
we
Snoop
can't.
Dogg Arizona Bowl, sponsored by Snoop Dogg's beverage brand Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. Yeah.
Rolling down the street in
It's a
Arizona.
nonprofit bowl
Look
held in
out.
Tucson, Arizona that aims to benefit the community's NIL deals for participating student athletes and creates unique opportunities. How about that?
Well, Snoop has been all about some unique opportunities ever since he got out of prison with Martha, for sure. All right. Well,
Snoop's
that
never been better than he was on the Olympic coverage with Kevin Hart.
all right, we have just enough time. I got to do one last thing. We've actually had some pretty good numbers show up on the show, and it might be, it's probably not, but it might be because I put out there that I was going to explain how the college football playoff committee really works. People don't understand. The Tuesday night stuff is fluff. It's for entertainment purposes only. And the guy came out and said it today. They would probably prefer to just wait until the season's over and throw the rankings out there and say, here's where we are. And then you put the brackets together. Because
he
they
would have
said
way less interviews to do.
they would have way less interviews. ESPN, the media, the devil of it all is they're the ones that they push it out there on Tuesday night. They create the drama, gives everybody something to talk about, makes teams like Notre Dame, think they're in like Flynn with no trouble. And then the guys got to come up with some excuse like, because of how BYU played, we finally put Miami over Notre Dame. Really? I mean, come on. But their only stance that is legitimate, in my opinion, and everybody just don't understand. It's a bunch of people that they're going to talk about it, and the bottom line is we're really going to wait till the season's over to decide who's best. But here's who we'll throw out there for this week. It's not sequential, logical, mathematical, numerical. All these, they throw out words like metrics and da 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 da. But it's just a bunch of people getting together, deciding who they think's the best team after the season is completely over. So you can't. What was last week is mutually exclusive of anything that could come out the next week. It's just.
Here's what I notice: if I'm left to go to Grapevine, Texas, and watch football like for days on end, they better get me a more comfortable seat. Because those chairs, they look somewhat comfortable, but not like for watching hours and hours of college football. And when is nap time? Because I'm taking one.
Those guys are, that's like work. They've turned watching college football into work. I think we could do a good job, and we need to come on here one day and talk about how we would fix it. Because I have a solution. But for tonight, we're out of time. Are there any other? So we've talked about Clemson, pinstriping. We've talked about I think they got it right, and I've tried to explain, and I know nobody wants to hear that explanation, but that's the truth. It's not where somebody was ranked last Tuesday and the week before, whatever, is absolutely meaningless. Those guys are waiting until the season's over. And then, of course, they do what they want to do. I tell you what I think, and they didn't say this, so obviously maybe I'm wrong. Maybe nobody brought it up. But when Duke beat Virginia, and when they went toe-to-toe and they had to go in overtime and Duke comes out on top, to me, that gives Miami a little more validity because, and people can say ACC's crap, but the ACC is a conference where no team wants to, you can't guarantee a win.
No, I think
Miami,
the ACC level of play was way better this year.
Right. And hence Miami's got 2 losses because all the teams were good. They weren't always consistently good, but you never knew when Louisville or Wake Forest or Georgia Tech were going to jump up and beat you. And
Right.
there's the Big Ten. There's 3 teams that really can win games in the Big Ten, and they're all in the playoffs. Let's just be real.
Think about it, Clemson was a last-second field goal at Georgia Tech and a blown pass interference call against Duke away from being potentially in the college football playoff.
Yeah, there's so many this season started. It was looking like we were going to be blown out of the water, but now there's so many what ifs. It's not even crazy. And Clemson was not ranked in the top 12 last year, right? They were 14th or 15th, and they got in because of the conference championship thing.
Yeah.
So, people finally got some understanding of how that works, but I don't know that folks have necessarily wrapped their brains around it. And we need more. All right, I'm saying we're saving this for another show. We're going to save it for another show. But Dabo has said this. A lot of other coaches have said this. It's kind of ridiculous to think that you're going to get it right when you're pulling 12 teams out of 132 college football teams. That's just too many. We got to come up with some divisions or something, kind of like we do in high school, which is always fun, right, Bailey?
Yeah.
Always fun. All right. Our time is up this evening. We're excited about Clemson going to New York City, and we hope that you get out there and go support your team if you can make it to their bowl trip. If you've never been to a bowl trip and you're a college football fan, you've got to go. It's really fun. I really, really, really just, if bowl games end up being a thing of the past, it's going to be a really, really sad situation, in my opinion. We will probably not be back live until the Sunday after the Pinstripe Bowl, and we're going to get ready for some holiday season, maybe enjoy some basketball. But we appreciate you checking us out. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on social media, and please share. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thrilla Entertainment, Greenville Sports Media, and Bailey Jackson.
Check out Clemson basketball against BYU in Madison Square Garden Tuesday night, 6:30 ESPN, the Jimmy V Classic. Go Tigers.
Another trip to the Big Apple.
Yeah, we're Clemson North.
All right, thanks for listening.